Hello everybody and welcome to the solitary extras video of the journey playthrough. So, our journey is complete, but considering it all just loops back to the beginning, there's a few little extra things that I want to show off. So on our journey, we, I'm pretty sure got all of the symbols and all of the ancient glyphs, so that's kind of the big thing. But there's a whole bunch of extra stuff that you can get. Mostly this is to do with trophies and so on. But once you've beaten the game once, you can go into the menu and you can go to Chapter Select. Chapter Select will take you right to the hub area, which is this. And if you look around, you can see glowing portals. Those glowing portals will take you to each of the different chapters. Starting at Chapter 3, which is the desert, and then going all the way around to the mountain. If you want to go to Chapter 2, then you just got to go straight through the door. Now, if you have collected all of the glowing symbols, then you can go into this stream of cloth, and you can transform into the white-robed figure that we had accompanying us all the way back when. Now, I had a bit of grief actually getting it to activate. I think you've just got to stay in it until the cloth turns red and then get the hell out of there. I was just staying in there for a little bit too long, which is a little bit annoying. And whilst I screw around with this for a little bit, you may have noticed that our robed figure has a few extra bits of golden work around the bottom of his cloak. With each subsequent playthrough of Journey, that increases up to about the third or so. After you've beaten the game 3 times, I'm pretty sure that the cloak is fully complete. But yes, we are now a white-robed figure, just as our companion was throughout our journey itself. What this allows you to do is have a automatically longer scarf to begin with, so you can fly more, but also as the second you land, your scarf will start to refill, so you don't necessarily have to always worry about trying to find cloth creatures to build up your flight power to be able to fly. You just got to just walk for a little bit and then you'll be good to go. And now, because randomly I decided let's go with this one first, we're going to try and get a trophy in this section. As I mentioned, if you go through, and it's 15 gates, not 20, it's definitely 15, on your journey through the Sunken City, which is what this particular bit's called, then you'll get the Adventure Trophy. You've got to go a kind of specific path through everything to get this trophy, but it's not too ridiculous in the long run. You've just got to make sure that you aim for the things nice and cleanly, and you'll make it through just fine. There's, I think, either just enough for you to be able to get it, or just over enough, allowing you to miss maybe 1 or 2. As I said, it's impossible for you to get all of the symbols and this particular trophy in one run, so you will be returning to this particular chapter to be able to deal with that. But, well, that's if you want the trophy, you know. But, yeah, I just love this particular bit so much. It's just wonderful. Always has been, always will be. And I'm pretty sure that on this second bit of sand surfing you have to come to the right, otherwise there is no way in hell you are getting the trophy. it's simply impossible because pretty much most of the gates are this side. And there we go. I did just get the adventure trophy. Obviously it didn't turn up because I turn off notifications whenever I'm recording, because I don't know, it just irritates me whenever things start popping up in these, like, just beautiful sections like this. And I'm still in awe of this particular set piece. It's just stunning. Now, seeing as we have got a reasonable amount of time, because not only are we going to, well, obviously we're doing this chapter again, we're also going to be returning to the bridge and the desert, because they house two trophies that I can get easily. I still haven't actually gotten all of the trophies for Journey, although it's certainly a reasonably simple process, largely because just haven't played it enough at this point. So the ones that you can easily get in your first run through are Ancestor, which is find a mysterious creature hidden in the temple. So if you remember when we dropped down through the tower to that one particular bit and there's the creature from Flow, that lets you the Ancestor trophy. You can get History by getting all 10 ancient glyphs, which I'm pretty sure I did show off. Mirage for finding the hidden desert flower, which obviously we saw. Rebirth, which you can get for finishing the game and returning to the beginning. That one's dead easy. You can get Return, which you've just got to start the journey again after a week-long break, or, you know, put your clock forward on your console and that'll sort it. Transcendence, which is collect all of the glowing symbols across one or more journeys. You can do it in one, but it allows you to do it over multiple, and that unlocks you the white robe and that Transcendence trophy. You also have Trials, which is sneak through the underground passage without tearing your scarf, so basically don't get caught by the flying creatures, which is dead easy. Even with the last section, you just got to make sure that you keep going, and that's all pretty much sorted for you. Which then leaves us with some of the slightly more difficult trophies, or at least ones that require either a bit more skill or a bit of luck. So you have Wonder, which is meet 10 or more unique travellers across all of your journeys. So you've just pretty much got to keep playing the game to get that. I think I've maybe met a total of 3 or 4 travellers on my journeys, which is a bit sad that I've only met that many, but these things happen. You also have Companion, which is finish the game with the same partner that you've had for the majority of the journey and return to the beginning, which is certainly a difficult task because you never know whether your partner is going to stay with you. I very, very nearly got that trophy in this playthrough, because obviously we did stick with the same partner for the entirety of the game after we got into the second chapter. It was just unfortunately that we lost them in that last little stretch during the leap through the sky. And so, yeah, you just got to make sure that you try and stick with them as best you can. I can't remember exactly the cut-off point. I think you've got to make sure that you hit the light together, or reach the summit together and then you're good. But it's a bit difficult. And crossing is basically identical in the sense of it's reach the summit with a companion and return to the beginning. So the way that you can do this a little bit more easily, if you don't want to just be trying to catch people and stick with them for the entire game, is jump to the snow bit of the mountain using the chapter select and wait around for somebody to turn up. And once somebody turns up, then you stick with them. And if you manage to get to the summit with them, then that'll classify as getting you companion and crossing, because the majority of your journey is what you've played. So if you use the chapter select, just completing the snowy bit and the sky bit counts as the majority of your journey. And so it will unlock. Another one that you need other players for is reflection, and that's sit and meditate with another player for more than 20 seconds. This one's a little bit finicky to get, if only because it requires other people, you know, to actually listen to you. I believe on the PS4 you just need to press the options button to get you to sit down and then you meditate. But you essentially need to try and get your other player to realise what you're doing and sit alongside you. And it has to be for 20 seconds. Obviously, after that 20 seconds has elapsed, then you'll get the trophy reflection. But it's just a little bit of communication, and then that should be okay. Which leaves us with 2 trophies, which are the ones which we are going to be picking up in the last 10-12 minutes of this part. So the one that I am trying to get right now is Threshold, which you get by crossing the broken bridge without completely rebuilding it. Now the best way of ensuring that you can do this is get your white robe, because, you know, that's going to give you a longer scarf, more flight. Also it restores so you can get to each platform and you can keep yourself going. And if needs be, you can release some of the cloth creatures to build a bridge, but you can't do all of them. I think what the guides that I was looking at suggested was that you rebuild the final stretches of the bridge and leave this particular one be, because then you can just glide over the scarf bridges and make it across, and you don't have to worry about this bit here because that won't count as being completely rebuilt. Your other option, which is what I'm going to do now, is collect all of the symbols in this area, rebuild that specific bridge, and then you should, by all rights, have enough flight power to make it across the bridge without rebuilding the rest of it. I was slightly worried that this wasn't going to be the case, but turns out it was totally fine. Didn't need to worry at all. And so we only have 1 trophy left, so we just need to head straight on into the desert for what is arguably the most time-consuming of all of the trophies, because it requires you to hunt around the desert. I probably could have gotten it during the main run, but our friend decided to save some of the cloth creatures, so I wasn't quite given the opportunity. which is a little bit annoying, but oh well, these things do happen. Now you're probably wondering why I'm leaving in these confluence sections. It's just because it's simpler. It's me being a little bit lazy, because it's just like, I'll just leave these in, it means I have less editing to do. But also, it just keeps the flow going, if you know what I mean. Logically, what I should have done in terms of the way that this part has been set out is just go straight into the bridge, do that, then go into the desert, and then end on the wonderful sand surfing, but my brain didn't work like that. Although I suppose it did, well, it does work out in the end, because it means that I haven't had the chance to, well, I have had the chance to pick up an ally, but none have turned up. So I am totally free to get all the cloth creatures for myself. And the reason for that is that our final trophy that we're going to pick up is Explore, which you get by discovering all of the cloth creatures in the desert. So, if you remember all of these little prison-y type things that are housing the cloth creatures, you've got to try and find every last one of them. And it's got to be you who releases them, not anybody else. So it is better if you try and do this particular trophy offline, as if you run into other people, then potentially they're going to screw you over enormously. But still, you can get it on your first run, but yeah, I did not stand a chance. So we are just going to be running through the desert for the end of this playthrough, just getting those cloth creatures and finishing the job. So, I mean, I suppose this gives me a reasonable amount of time to just recap my thoughts and experience with Journey. Like, it's a game that is so worthwhile to play, at least in my opinion, because it's minimalistic, but it's just so enjoyable. And it's just, it can just be so euphoric, and you can play it in whatever way you like. So you can go for the just charging through method, but you can also go for the slightly more, or the slower pace, and just exploring as you wish to. And the game doesn't force you to move onward, it just lets you go at that pace, and it's just rather wonderful, really. And then obviously you've got this absolutely gorgeous art design, which I am still absolutely in love with. It's simply gorgeous. And then you've got that ridiculously stunning soundtrack, which deserves every single award it's ever gotten. And then you've got the fact that it can be such a profound experience when you start when you meet other players and you stick with them and work alongside them. It just feels so amazing. I mean, I suppose I do have issues with the slight floatiness of some of the controls. Like, the flying mechanic's a little bit weird. But you get used to it pretty gosh darn quickly, and even if like the puzzles that the game asks you to complete are really not that difficult, and it is a little bit on the slower side, and also it's pretty short, it's just really wonderful to play. And much like with Child of Eden, it's a game that you just want to play and replay again. It just feels so right. And this is what I was talking about last time we were in the desert with the flying bits of light which direct us to where the things are. As you can see, that light is going all the way over there, and it basically directs you to the flower. Obviously, we are not going to go towards the flower, but we are going to attempt to find the one batch of cloth creatures that I am presently missing. So the one thing about the desert, it's just a little bit too big and everything's a little bit too spread out. So it's so ridiculously easy to miss things. Like, you have no idea how easy it is to miss things. It's infuriating. And it is literally only one batch of cloth creatures that I need to find before I can go and collect the last batch. So it's just like, oh. Now, something that I don't think I actually pulled off with the cloth creatures too effectively anyway, is that you can fly on them for a short period of time if you... I think it's if you hold circle, then they will fly, and they will take you along with them, which is really quite sweet. And I think... yes, there we go. That's the bit of cloth that I've been searching for all this time. And I realised that I just went on a slight major digression there, away from my conclusive thoughts on Journey. But yeah, it is just such a wonderful, wonderful game, and one that I think people should experience, because it is just so beautiful. It's perhaps a little too arty and too simple for some folk, but I truly believe that when a game has the level of artistic merit that Journey has, it goes past there being an issue of how simple the controls are, or how simple the gameplay is, and how short it is. It becomes more about the overall experience, and considering it is so wonderful and you want to experience it again and again and again, it does its job very effectively, because the journey loops back to the beginning once it is finished. So you are essentially reenacting that journey time and time again. And that fits into the narrative, which is just so clever. But either way, we have one last group of cloth creatures to free, and they are just up the top of this tower. All we need to do is just chirp there, and that nets us the Explore trophy, or at least I'm pretty sure it does. If not, it will certainly do it once you get to the end of the chapter. Because at that point you just free a ridiculous number of cloth creatures, and then you go straight into the absolutely wonderful Sunken City section. And as we go into this confluence once again, just have a sort of nice, hopeful, joyous conclusion to this extras part. Because obviously we want to just fly off into the sunset, and it'll just be absolutely gorgeous. So hopefully this extras video has shown you how to get those few trophies that require a little bit of gameplay prowess rather than simply meeting people online. And I hope that you have enjoyed the entirety of this rather short playthrough. I've certainly enjoyed playing the game and commentating over it because I'm just enamoured with this title. And I hope that you will join me in the next playthrough, which will be beginning very, very soon. So, thank you all so much. I will see you on the next journey.